With schools around the world being shut down and most of us staying inside during this global pandemic, there has been a major increase in the demand for online classes. Now, before I tell you about this class, I want to ask how many of you have ever thought,
when will I use the quadratic formula outside of school?
Or,
how does studying frogs prepare me for the real world?
trust me, I understand, which is why I'm proud to announce a new entry into the Rocket League 200 series. This is a class that you can't afford to pass up, and it would be a shame to let this course pass you by. In fact, the easiest way to pass this class is to pass. So this class is about passing if you're still not catching my awful puns. It should go without saying that having established trust and understanding with your team is going to improve the effectiveness of your passing. But whether you're queuing up with strangers or playing with a team, there are 3 things you should know in order to create effective passing plays. I'm going to present these 3 things to you as questions. First, why should you pass? Second, when should you pass? And finally, when and where should you move to receive a pass? So, why should you pass?
When I say go, I want you to run as fast as you can to the goal. Okay?
Yeah.
Go.
Come back.
What did you learn?
That you can score from halfway?
No. That the ball can travel faster than you. Here we pass the ball. You understand that? We're a unit, not a one-man show.
As this clip just demonstrated, a major functionality of passing is to move the ball up the field faster and while using less energy, or in our case, boost, than if you were to dribble or air dribble the ball yourself. Another functionality of passing is causing confusion between defenders and making shots less predictable. In this clip, we see that the defender in net has to treat the attacker as a potential goal-scoring threat, and he's postured to save an incoming shot. Instead of shooting, the attacker passed the ball. The defender is now in a spot where they must guess the timing and angle of the incoming shot. Passing also causes defenders to freeze or hesitate when critical decisions need to be made. In this clip, we can see that the defender just filled up on boost, but having full boost doesn't help him prevent this 1-2 passing play from scoring. He's unable to keep track of the back and forth movement of the ball and ends up frozen to the ground without applying any defense. It is very difficult for defenders to stop these plays, and these passes give a heavy advantage and high probability of success to the attackers. So why aren't these passing plays more frequently used? I believe this is because most players are unable to quickly identify when a situation calls for a pass. So now I'd like to answer the question, when should you pass? The answer to this question involves considering multiple factors, because you have to account for many constantly changing variables within the game. Here we'll talk through one of my successful passing plays, while taking a few pauses to discuss how the changing variables affected my decision to pass. At this point I am posturing to defend a shot from a central position, but I noticed that the other opponent was late to intercept my teammate's touch on the ball and committed way too hard. The shot went wide, and now 2 opposing players are out of position. We have an opportunity here for a counterattack, and I just need to get around the 3rd defender to complete our team's transition from defense to offense. So now we have arrived at the decisive moment. Some of you may be thinking we can score a power shot from this half volley, or maybe we can bring the ball down for a dribble. An air dribble from this range and boost situation isn't ideal, or we can just slap it up against the backboard. This ball looks mighty juicy for one of these solo plays, but resist the urge. This is when you should pass. To help illustrate this point, let's take the position of everyone on the field and place them on this diagram. As you should recall, one opponent overcommitted on a challenge into our corner, and he returned to around midfield looking for boost, while my teammate from that position rotated into a central offensive supporting position. My other teammate that pressured the shot regained control of their car and dropped back to fill our 3rd man role, while the opponent that took the shot has dropped back and is currently the last defender. And finally, here is my current position, as well as the opponent I was just able to get around. Now you may have noticed that there's a massive undefended area that would be perfect for my teammate to move into to receive a pass. If I don't pass the ball here, my teammate will likely still move into this area to continue giving me a passing option until the lane closes, or they're going to give up on the play and rotate out of position. The latter happens often, and I just so happen to have an example of what that looks like when I had a lapse in judgment and didn't pass to my teammate. I was really disappointed with myself after I realized my mistake, and my next touch was a deliberate pass to him to make amends. But really, I wish I made the big brain play earlier. I didn't make that mistake this time. I passed the ball to my teammate, then ran interference on the defender to set up an open goal. We have thoroughly discussed this play, but we don't usually have this kind of time to think about our actions in a game. So let's watch this play back at full speed and try to remember all the things that we've talked about. That's a lot to think about during the speed of gameplay, and I don't expect anyone to be able to do this level of analysis or decision making on the fly. We just want to make sure that we're taking advantage of our team plays in the heat of the moment. Therefore, I'm going to lay out 2 basic guidelines to help simplify your decision making during gameplay. Number 1, always look for a pass when you have the numbers advantage. If it's a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1, use your team to create problems for the defenders. Bonus points if you can force a defender to commit to pressuring you before the pass. Number 2, always look to pass when opponents are already set up in a favorable defensive position. The objective is to create goal-scoring opportunities, and the most effective way to do that is to force the defenders into situations that are difficult to read and hard to anticipate. That brings us to our final topic of the lesson. When and where should we move to receive a pass? Our movement off the ball is important in order to present passing options for our teammates. Otherwise, their only option is to go for a solo play or to follow through with the pass that just goes to the other team. There are 3 specific moments that will lead to us moving into space for a pass. The first is when your team is able to take possession of a ball before an opponent can pressure them. This will typically happen when the opposing team overruns the ball, or if they make a powerful clear that they can't follow up. In this example, we see the opponents make a mistake and the ball is free for the taking. Now I have the option to rotate in goal as my teammate leaves to attack the ball, or I could attack the ball myself. However, neither of these would create a goal-scoring opportunity. Instead, I made the choice to quickly move into space upfield to create a passing option for my teammate, and we were just quick enough to beat the defender. Another good time to position for a pass is when your teammate gets by an opponent. In the clip we analyzed earlier, my teammate kept moving into a parallel position and moving forward after I beat the defender on the wall. This is a good time to offer passing options because your teammate will likely have a little extra time and space before another defender is able to apply pressure. The last good moment we're going to discuss is when your teammate has an abnormal amount of space and time on the ball. If that time and space goes away and your teammate has to take a 50-50, then we need to be ready to rotate back in case he loses the challenge. In this play, I initially moved forward because my teammate won possession of the ball in an uncontested way. I wanted him to pass the ball at this point because I have lots of distance between myself and the defenders, and I'm centered in front of net. A hard low pass right now would be a great redirect opportunity. Notice that I keep moving my wheels back and forth because I'm anticipating a 50-50 by a defender and I may need to rotate back quickly. Fortunate for us, the defense was unorganized, which gave my teammate an abnormal amount of time and space on the ball. This allowed me to stay forward and receive the pass. Now that we know when to move for a pass, let's discuss where to move. This is pretty simple if we view the length of the field as 3 separate lanes. As a general rule, we should always be in a separate lane from the individual making the pass. Being in a separate lane allows us to meet the pass while carrying momentum towards goal. Now we can be in the same lane as the passer sometimes, but it takes an incredible amount of skill to get a proper shot angle. So unless you are competitive near the top of the Rocket League ladder, then the best option may be to drop it back down to another teammate. We must also consider the range of the pass and how we prevent it from being intercepted. If a pass is made from one side of the field to the other, then we must judge where the defender will be able to intercept the pass, and then we must make sure that we take a faster path to the ball so we beat the defender. And that concludes this lesson on passing. I wish you the best of luck in combining all of these principles into your ever-evolving Rocket League strategy. If you enjoyed this lesson, then please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions or topics that you would like to discuss further, I provided very thorough explanations to comments in my previous videos, and I'll do the same for this one. Thank you all for attending this class, and stay safe out there so I can see you in the next one.